Is the Five Nights at Freddy's movie as bad as critics say? Today, we're going to be doing a full and honest review on Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie. As a huge Five Nights at Freddy's fan myself, in this video, I'm going to be explaining how it is to view it as a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, that actually loves the games and played all the games, read all the books, all the lore and stuff like that, and also how it is to view the movie as a regular viewer that has no entire idea what Five Nights at Freddy's is and just wants to sit down and watch a good horror movie. So if you're a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's or horror movies, this is definitely the video for you. You can also let me know in the comments below what you guys think about it, but without further ado, let's go and actually hop into the review. This video will not contain spoilers up to a certain point, so I will put the point on the screen right now. Also, I will have chapters down below, so the minute the spoilers pop up, if you don't want to get spoiled, you can watch up to that point and see how it is, before you go watch it. Unless you want to go watch it, then come back to this video, or just want to leave, it's really your choice. But now let's go and actually talk about how the movie is, spoiler free so far, how it is for a regular viewer, and about the basic story and premise of the movie. The movie's a pretty simple story. It's about a brother called Mike Smith, and he has to take care of his sister Abby. But the thing is, he keeps on losing his job and he keeps getting fired and he can't really seem to hold the job. So of course, that's when he's left on to desperate moments, left to go and take this crappy job that pays little and is literally terrible, and you have to do night shifts, or try to get some other job, which of course he cannot really get. So to keep Abby with him and not getting taken away from his evil aunt, he decides to go and of course take the job. And that's where the movie starts. Of course, he goes and has Five Nights at Freddy's, which each night progressively getting worse as he unsolves the mystery of the Pizzaplex reveals to the police officer, Vanessa, with little plot twists through the way until the whole entire end. That's literally the entire movie's premise without giving that much of spoilers. Now, I want to say, the whole entire movie was promoted in every one of the promotions, and also the whole creator said, even Blumhouse, Jason Blum, they all said how this is a movie for the fans. So you can definitely expect this movie to be mainly viewed by fans, and that's explaining why the critic scores right now a 24% on Rotten Tomatoes, but the audience is an 89%. You can see the difference here. The Five Nights at Freddy's audience, or the audience, just loves the movie for a Five Nights at Freddy's film, but the critics that just want to watch that and watch a horror movie didn't really like the film. Because I gotta say, one thing is that the trailer gave away too much. You already heard the whole entire premise that I said. If you go and watch the first and second trailer, it technically tells you the exact same thing and shows you almost everything the movie shows. That's why one thing I was a really bit sad about the movie is because I was expecting a lot more, but then was given a lot little. I'm not gonna say what wasn't in the movie, but technically if you watch the first two trailers, that's really everything. Except for like one minor character doesn't have any lines, but of course you could consider that spoilers, but that's what I'm not gonna say here. But overall, when it comes to this being a horror film, it pretty much lacks in that. The jump scares aren't really that much of a jump scare. Everything is silent before, so you can kind of predict when something's about to happen. Also, the gore isn't that much within the film. Certain scenes just have the gore happening, as you can see the shadow of it happening without actually showing it. And it only shows little blood. During some scenes, it doesn't really show an accurate prediction of what's actually happening. If that would have happened in real life, more blood would be happening. But of course, it's a PG-13 rated movie, it's not R, so they cannot show that much. But if you're here to watch a horror movie and see all the scariness, gore, and all that, the Five Nights at Freddy's film is not that. It is definitely not scary at all. If you're playing Five Nights at Freddy's 1, you're probably going to get jumped a lot more than the actual movie. So yes, if you're a regular viewer, would you enjoy the Five Nights at Freddy's movie? That kind of depends. If you like having nostalgia for Chuck E. Cheese and weird abandoned things, you're probably going to like it for the idea of animatronics killing people in an old abandoned Chuck E. Cheese looking place, or if you just like actors like Josh Hutcherson and Leonard Matthew. But if you're here just for the actual pure story of it, you're probably going to feel a little bit disappointed at the end because it doesn't leave off with a huge cliffhanger. The end could be predictable for some, and it's not like extreme huge stakes happen throughout the movie. But hey, I'm a Five Nights at Freddy's fan speaking here, so now it's time to not talk about that. Before we actually talk about spoilers, that's going to be a little bit later on, let's talk about how it is to view it as a Five Nights at Freddy's fan. The film was in the making for over 8 years with a whole bunch of different writers and a whole bunch of different companies on it, and now it's finally out. So finally having this film just feels unreal to actually view it. And for a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, the film does an amazing job to represent the games. The animatronics, the suits, the sets, the design, everything is spot on. It's perfect. Literally, the best part of the movie is the whole pizzeria, how everything looks real, not CGI at all. It's just amazing, the detail, and as a Five Nights at Freddy's fan that knows and played the game, seeing this all in live action is just amazing, and you're gonna love it. The movie is also jam-packed with tons and tons of different references to the books, the games, literally everything. So if you're a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, keep your eyes out because you're going to notice so many different things, even little references that Scott Cawthon is threw in. That's how you know they love the film. And as a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, you're going to love it for, of course, all those reasons. And the story might be seeming a little bit simple, but as a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, you could definitely predict the rest of the movie since you played the games and know the whole entire lore behind the game. But as a fan, you understand the story a lot more because, you know, you played the games, you read the books, even though there is some plot twists in the movie that as a game, it kind of ties away from the game, making it seem like this movie's in a totally different universe. But of course, not taking everything from the game's lore, but is taking a little bit. So even if you're a fan of the lore, you memorized everything, you could watch this movie and still be surprised by some plot twists as a hardcore Five Nights at Freddy's fan. And as a fan, and of course played Security Breach, you know Vanessa has literally little to none appearances in the game Security Breach. But if you're a Vanessa fan, you're gonna love this film because she's actually important in this film. Let's go. Yeah, so as a Five Nights at Freddy's film, it does an amazing job as one. Yeah, it's not scary, but at the end of the day, it's a great film. And me as a Five Nights at Freddy's fan that been waiting maybe around 7 to 5 years, I wasn't there for day one, I definitely did enjoy the film as a FNAF fan. But yeah, I could definitely say I was disappointed because I wanted to see a lot more and expecting to see a lot more that the trailer didn't really show. But of course, it didn't really happen, so maybe that's being set up for a sequel. But now it's the time you've probably been waiting for, time to talk about spoilers and what I think about these different Easter eggs, and of course, spoiler-heavy moments. So if you don't want to get spoiled, please skip to this part or leave the video. It's your choice. But without further ado, let's go talk about them. The very first thing is, of course, the story and plot twists and turns. The very first one is William Afton having a daughter, and it's not Elizabeth, it's Vanessa. So yeah, seeing Vanessa's a whole daughter in the theater, I told it to my sister right next to me. I was like, I bet she's gonna say, I'm her daughter, he's my father. 5 minutes later, she says he's my father. I did not get spoiled about that. I literally just predicted it because I thought it'd be a fun twist versus the games. And they did that. And it's not bad, of course, it could show. And it definitely does feel like she's still under the control, just not as the glitch trap virus as in the game. But in the movie, she's just been manipulated so much. And of course, her father, so as she grew up, she just couldn't help it. She has to listen to him. But of course, in the movie, she of course fights back with a gun and then gets stabbed and is now in a coma. But hey, she broke that whole little cycle she was in. She, of course, was a police officer helping covering up the crimes at Freddy Fazbear's because, of course, her dad is, you know, the one that owns it, we think. So yeah, that was a good little plot twist. Definitely did like that. Also, talking about references, we already knew that Corey was going to be in the movie. I feel like the trailers definitely shouldn't have shown that, and it would have been a nice little plot twist, and some, you know, Markiplier isn't in the film to be that cool little plot twist. But there was another cameo, of course, being Matt Pat himself, and I did get spoiled about that literally a day before I watched the movie. So I couldn't really have a pure reaction, but the lines is when I was able to get the pure reaction because, of course, he says the famous line, "It's just a theory," while talking about how lunch is the most important meal of the day, which I 100% agree about that. As a person who skips breakfast and just goes straight for lunch, I am 100% agreeing with him. But also when it comes to different little Easter eggs like the Eleanor Springlock suit, like it's definitely confusing why there's an Eleanor Springlock suit. Like, why is there an Eleanor suit with spring locks? Why? And then Abby was gonna be put in there? Like, Scott doesn't add things for no reason. It's definitely a little bit confusing. Also seeing the weird statue of like Balloon Boy possibly hinting at a sequel, and also the end credits having the Living Tombstone song. Let's go! They did it, and I was gonna be like really sad that they didn't do it, but they did it. It was amazing. My whole entire theater was literally screaming. And if you want to see my reaction to the movie and my theater's reaction to some major points like William Afton saying, "I always come back," which I feel like was a little bit of fan service putting that line in there because it felt out of pocket. And also, he put the mask back on even though he was already gonna die. But I guess he already had a plan for that, eh? But yeah, I did a whole entire video of me watching it, my first impressions, first day, because now it's officially been over 24 hours since I've seen the film. So maybe it gives me more time to go read reviews, see other people's opinions, and just let everything soak in so I can finally make this honest review. And of course, other Easter eggs like the restaurant called Sparky's Cafe or Sparky's Restaurant, what was it called? And it had like a little Sparky tag, a dog collar. of course, as the Haunted Restaurant's logo, and of course a Sparky the Dog animatronic reference, being a whole glitch within day 1 of Five Nights at Freddy's, and of course that was like one of the very first hoax in FNAF, Sparky the Dog. But yes, he is canon. We got our official look. He's canon. He made references in Sparky the Dog's in the movie, and this is absolutely insane. Also, some words saying it's me in the movie. I did catch that when I first watched it. And many might think that Shadow Freddy isn't in the movie, but he was on the monitor, I think, when he glitched. I don't know if it was that, but you could correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. And also, I think in the whole suit, when you see all the dead body stuffed in there, I think Max's corpse is actually stuffed in the purple Shadow Freddy suit, but correct me if I'm also wrong. But the Easter eggs definitely go crazy. And everyone said at the end credits when they had those little words, it says like can't find them or find them, something like that, and it's supposed to be a reference to the puppet mini game in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So with Balloon Boy, you hear the music box at the end of the credits before the whole entire movie closes up, seeing the whole mini game from the puppet. All that definitely alludes to Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So if there is going to be a second movie, I'll love to see the toy animatronics, and I'll love to see that. And maybe they could do a better part in the story, so the story could be amazing, the references could be amazing, and overall it could just be an amazing movie for the critics and also the reviewers. But I don't think we can ever have a movie that'd be perfect for the audience and critics, because just like Mario, the critics didn't like it, but all the real fans loved it. Because at the end of the day, it's just extremely difficult to make a movie that the critics will love just for its story, and the FNAF fans, or the fans of the whole franchise, will love it for the whole lore and actual, representation to the game. It's really difficult for that, but Blumhouse, I think, did a great job. Maybe not on the critics side and maybe not on the story side, but when it comes to the audience and making a Five Nights at Freddy's film, they did a great job. In my video yesterday, I did say I was going to give the movie a ranking of 8 out of 10. But when it comes to a story point and for a critic, I would say if I was walking out not knowing anything from Five Nights at Freddy's, I'll probably give it a 5 out of 10 for being a story, and of course going in not knowing anything. You'll probably walk out of there confused, not knowing what's happening, but as a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, I would definitely say I'll probably give it an 7.5 to maybe 8 for being a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. You know what? I give it an 8. Yes, I'm sticking with that. I think it's an 8 for Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I feel like they could have added a little bit more to make it great, but it's still a great movie. I had a great time dressing up. My theater reaction was crazy. I had a fun time watching it. I'm probably gonna go watch it again tonight on Peacock. You can watch it in theaters or Peacock, but not sponsored. I recommend you going to watch it in theaters. This is a totally different experience. It's just absolutely insane sitting in a theater and watching Five Nights at Freddy's. Never thought that day was going to come, and midway in the movie, I'm like, wait, I'm watching the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. This is insane. So yes, I hope that answered the question for you, if the critics are, telling the truth about the movie. Partially, the critics, of course, are right about it not being a good movie for the story base of it, and of course, being someone that knows nothing about FNAF. But that doesn't mean you give it a 24. Maybe a 50, maybe a 55, because, the halfway mark, I feel like would be good for the critic score. You guys can let me know in the comments below. But for the audience score, I think that it's perfect, and so far it's only going up. It started at 88, and now it's at 89, so it could only go up from here. As an audience myself, I absolutely loved it. So do not think the title is saying that, of course, the critics are right. I do not think they're right. I think they did a terrible job, and this is why Rotten Tomatoes sucks, because other movies gets higher rating even though they sucked, and movies like Five Nights at Freddy's, which is literally good, like we said, of course it's not a perfect movie, it has its flaws like almost every other video game movie, but it did what it had to do, and it did it all right. Maybe not all of it right, but it definitely did a lot of it, and it did have good fan service in it. Scott Cawthon, Blumhouse, you guys did a great job, and I hope we get a Five Nights at Freddy's movie too. And don't forget to check my other video about me vlogging the theater and also reacting to the first or second trailer. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about the movie, what you guys are rated, and if you're a FNAF fan or just a casual viewer watching a movie. But I think it's me in this video. See you all in the next one. Goodbye.